Hey everybody, Mr. Eric Jenkins coming at you with a brand new video. And today, you saw that? Brand new video. And today is the end of the month, which means that it's time for the watch list. So if I remember correctly, we're on episode 2 of the watch list. And if you guys are like, Eric, what is the watch list? I'm going to be like, I'll tell you. The watch list is a monthly series where I kind of give a little critique and little insight of what I'm watching when it comes to TVs, documentaries, and film. Every month I go over all this good stuff. At the end of the year, we're going to do a live stream or I'm just going to do a fully edited video where I'm going to put all of the stuff I watched into tier lists. Documentary tier list, boom. Film tier list, boom. TV show tier list, boom. And I might do a couple other little ones like Jackass tier list, boom. Spoiler alert. Boom, roasted, Criterion list, boom, Arrow list, boom.
Roasted.
All that fun stuff. So, let's get into it, and we're going to start off with this little gem right here. We're going to start with documentaries. Girls Gone Wild Spring Break 2K1. It's like Madden, but better. If you grew up in the early 2000s and watched Drawn Together, Little Bush, Crank Yankers, South Park, Man Show, The State was kind of on there as well sometimes. No. Chappelle Show. There you go. If you watched Comedy Central back in the day, there were a bunch of TV ads for that. And why do I have it on my desk? Well, I bought a bunch of DVDs at a tag sale, and they're like, just take them all. Just take them all. I don't want them. And surely enough, that was in there. So if I can go back in time and be like, young Eric, look what I possess. And that young man would be like, bro, the internet's still a thing. What are you doing? So, little humorous little intro, but let's get down to brass tacks. We're going to get super serious right now because we're going to be actually going over a serious topic, which is rug addiction. I said rug instead of derug. Because the first film that I'm going to be going over is a film called Black Metal Veins. Black Metal Veins is a documentary, and I'm air quoting documentary because it has some Faces of Death elements to it. Which, if you don't know what Faces of Death is, definitely give it a little Google. Actually, no, don't get. You can give it a Google research, but check out in the description an iceberg video going over the disturbing film Icebergs, done by a gentleman named Wendigoon. Phenomenal YouTuber. He goes over every single film on that iceberg, and Faces of Death is one of them. The Faces of Death is like half real, half fake. There's parts of this that appear to be fake, but it's about addicts who are in a band and they live day to day trying to get their fix. And it's very gritty, very raw, and very difficult to watch. And I don't recommend really watching this film. I personally know people with problems. I know people that have had problems that aren't here today. And I know people that have gotten over their problems. And I commend them for fighting the long fight. However, this film, directed by Lucifer Valentine, can't believe I'm saying that. It's a person's name. Lucifer Valentine uses this guerrilla filmmaking style to make a very real story. And there are people that do live like this. So the realness and the rawness make it very difficult to watch. I was actually able to find this on, and it's pretty far down on the iceberg. And I was kind of like, well, I used to like really gory films and splatter films and exploitation films when I was a young lad. Let's see how many of these videos I actually know. And I don't know a lot of them when it goes farther down. And this one, when I was hearing Wendigoon's explanation, seemed the most palatable. And it showed up on a Reddit thread. And I was like, buckle up, Buttercup. I'm going to try this one out. And it was a very difficult watch, I will say. I don't recommend it at all. I don't recommend it. Even if you are curious, just pass. Just pass. Next up, we have a Tubi joint. I'm very excited about this. I've been getting into Tubi lately. Sickies Making Films, a 2018 documentary about censorship in American cinema. most notably in Maryland. So for those astute film students who might know about the Hays Code, might know about censorship, might not know that Maryland was the last state to actually get rid of and disband their censorship board, which is crazy to think about. And it disbanded in like the mid 70s. Hays Code ended in like 67, 68. Which, and for those who don't know, it goes very in depth about censorship in film and how the government actually had these committees watch these films and say yay or nay and cut this or cut that. And of course, they're all like Christian white males. So like if it didn't appeal to Christian white males, it ain't happening. But there's one particular lady that was on the board that everybody disliked. And John Waters is actually one of like the primary talking head interviews in this. And he was like, oh, well, she had to watch my films. So like she probably got a rise out of them kind of thing. Like it's John Water-isms, if you will. But it's a very interesting, if you're into American film, if you're looking to learn, if you just finished a Film 101 course and looking to get into the next step, this is actually a very interesting thing, especially with American cinema, because this wasn't a big issue over in Italy or in France where a lot of bigger films are being made. It's all done in America. So definitely give it a check. Check it out. It's on Tubi, so it's free. You just got to watch like 2 or 3 ads, but it's very, very fun, very interesting. All right, so that's going to do it for the documentary portion. Some of the movies that I did watch are kind of documentary-esque, but I'm going to put them in there in the movie category. So we're going to get into TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, sadly. There's some stuff that I really want to watch, and it's been on like my watch list for so long, but it just doesn't happen. I usually end up watching the same old shows over and over and over and over again, trying to go to sleep. So if you want my opinions on It's Always Sunny, I can help you with that.
All right.
But one thing that Allie and I have been watching in our spare time has been Bar Rescue. It is a reality TV show about John Taffer, who goes and helps out failing bars and helps, teach their chefs, bartenders, and owners how to properly manage a bar and grill and, food eatery. So if you like hospitality shows like Kitchen Nightmares, Hell's Kitchen, Hotel Hell, this is definitely one of those films that you got to check out, or not films, TV shows you got to check out. We're on like season 3 right now. It gets pretty in depth. If you have a weak stomach, I would not recommend watching this either, because most restaurants can be like this. Can be. So think about that. No, I'm just kidding. Most of them do very well with sanitation, but you will see some gross stuff. So next up we have TV. I ended up watching a handful of films. One set I'm going to lump together, and then we have the other 2. So let's start off with the other 2. We have a 1942 after-school special called Devil's Harvest. There are 2 things great about this movie. One, it's an after-school special with phenomenal pulp/pop art. I love the cover. I love it so much, I ended up getting a patch on it before even seeing the freaking movie. 2, it's an after-school special, which I always love after-school specials, but there's a gentleman. He's an old pusher. Who has a hot dog cart, and he puts joints in the hot dog bun, and he gives them to the kids. That's brilliant. That's freaking brilliant. I love it. But let's read the quick synopsis off of IMDb. I'm going to make it black and white. I'm going to put a cool little sound over there so I seem like a news in America kind of thing. An investigator goes into the people who are corrupting the nation's youth by spreading the weed of Satan, marijuana. Basically, the mob comes in, starts pushing pot to young kids, says, hey man, you can be big if you smoke pot. Hey girl, you dance real nice. Let's see how you dance. You can be a star. And then the cops come in, and there's like a shootout, and then everyone dies. It was a waste of 52 minutes. I love after-school specials. The worse, the crappier, the better. But this was awful. This is awful. I want like gritty 35 millimeter, like 1950s, like shown in a health class. This is a freaking movie. Sucked. Didn't like it. Cover was cool. Old Man Pusher was great though. Next up, we have another bad good film, Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast from 1963. A death metal classic. Blood Feast is known as the first splatter film. So a lot of Bosco was spilt that day. A lot of strawberry Bosco.
It's Bosco. You know, the chocolate syrup. I love that stuff. I pour it in milk. It's my favorite drink.
It's about this guy that goes and these young ladies are missing, and you know, we haven't seen that before. And all the ladies have to stay inside, but of course they don't. They go to make out corners and they go to the beach and they still get slain. But this guy, you know, he's the killer. Runs this like antique food shop. If that makes sense. Like he does exotic cuisines and he's a caterer, but he's got like weird antiques and crap in the store. And this mom walks in and goes, "Oh, before my daughter goes away for school, I'd love to give her a great going away present. I sound like David Cross as the Mrs. Featherbottom. Always read the label." And this guy got total freaking Mono's Hands of Fate vibe. "I know what she wants. I'm going to give her the blood feast." And he like hobbles to the back. Like, was it Torgo from Mono's Hands of Fate? I gotta watch that soon. I might do like an actual like live stream of it. I think it's like public domain. I think I could do that. And of course, he's been sacrificing blood to this goddess and this Egyptian goddess. And sure enough, this dude is, and like the cops, it always just cuts to the cops and they're reading a paper, and then it's like, "Damn, we couldn't figure out who did it. How come we can't? You didn't leave a footprint. You didn't leave this print. You didn't, leave a trace behind." Yeah, he hobbles. Of course, there's no foot trail because he's freaking dragging his heel across, or there's his freaking toes in the sand. But he gets busted, and it's gruesome. Like, all the scenes are pretty graphic. There's like an infamous scene where there's a tongue gets taken out. If you like crappy splatter flicks and crappy gore, Herschel Gordon Lewis doesn't make good films. He doesn't make bad films. He makes films for the time, and they're always revolutionary. So he gets the respect that's deserved. But they're not like Oscar-worthy films. They're definitely in the right lane for being, like exploitation, grindhouse, like double feature stuff. But it was enjoyable, and I just started diving into his stuff, like reading up about him. So I do have a Herschel Gordon Lewis box set that I do want to dive into later on. So I know like Wizards of Gore and Gore Girls are supposed to be like some of like the top ones. So I do plan on checking those out later on. But this is the one that he's very famous for. So I'm stoked I was able to check it out. Lastly, we have a collection of documentary comedy. We have Jackass Forever. First movie I've actually seen in the theaters in a very long time. So I was very excited. So thank you, Brandon and Jimmy, for putting up with me for 96 or 97 minutes. Jackass Forever is a stunt movie / old TV show that was on MTV, if you aren't familiar. Starring Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Chris Pontius, Preston Lacey, Wee Man, Danger Aaron, Dave England, and a now new cast of characters. You have Jasper Dolphin from Odd Future fame, as well as Loiter Squad, which is another Dick House Films. That was on Adult Swim, another production that is basically the same thing, but with Odd Future musicians. And you got people like Rachel Wolfson, who was the first female Jackassery member. And she killed it. She did a wonderful freaking job. There's also a person named Poopsie in this film. Poopsie. But they do stunts. There's a lot of male frontal nudity. There's a lot of vomiting. There's a lot of shitting. There's a lot of pissing. It's one of those things, like, it's so... Comedy 101 states if somebody gets hurt, it's funny. And Jeff Tremaine and Johnny Knoxville and Spike Jonze ran with that, and have been doing it for 2 decades, and it's been a wonderful ride. So I did end up going back and watching the whole Jackass like filmography minus Bad Grandpa, which is basically like SNL and Coneheads, where like Coneheads was a part of SNL, like an act, and then they made a whole movie about it. Bad Grandpa goes off of Johnny Knoxville wearing old man makeup and doing his own thing. I always forget about it. I don't know why, but I got to go back and actually watch it. But I watched Jackass 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and then 4, which I did that backwards. So we're going to do 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4 like that. Perfect. So basically Jackass 1, probably one of my favorites. It shaped how I listen to music and what music I listen to. First time I listened to the Misfits with Hybrid Moments during the credits. Andrew WK, We Want Fun. You've got some CKY in there. You got some good stuff. Jackass 2, bigger budget, bigger stunts, bigger pain, bigger payoffs. Love that film to death. Me, Jimmy, Brandon, and a bunch of other kids in our high school and middle school watched these so much. I'm pretty sure I broke the VHS of it watching and rewinding it so much that it's now broken. But we watched the deleted scenes, we watched the extras, the outtakes, we watched it all. Which that brings in 2.5. 2.5 is basically the additional film you get with Jackass 2. It came out a little bit later, more documentary style. They talk about some of the failed stunts that didn't make it into the movie, but it's basically the deleted scenes, but they have enough to make a film. And the same with 3.5. Jackass 3D utilizes a slow motion camera and 3D technology, so there's a lot of things being shot at people's bodies, and you see every ripple and every it's very funny, and it's probably one of the best ones. Jackass 3D still holds up like very, very well. But I love these films. I love this whole kind of like stunt mentality because I didn't grow up during the Evel Knievel era. And I watched skate videos all the time back in the day, and they came from skate videos. They Big Brother, but the one thing that really upset me with Jackass 4 and then rewatching these other films after is the presence of Bam Margera and the absence of Bam Margera in Jackass 4 Forever. There are some things going on with Mr. Margera, in his personal life, and then with the crew themselves. So it sucks that he wasn't able to be in the film. That also being said, a lot of the CKY guys aren't in the film. Ryan Dunn passed away, so he's no longer with us. Ray Keon wasn't in the film. Brandon DiCamillo, I know he does his own thing, but he wasn't in it. Novak wasn't in it. So, like these guys that you grew up with, Viva La Bam and the CKY tapes and Jackass, unfortunately aren't in there anymore. So it kind of, it got a little upsetting, and especially at the end of Forever, they do like in memory of, that was a little, some tears were going down my face. But love Jackass Forever. Highly recommend it if you can get out to theaters and check it out, or wait for it to stream in your own home. Just forewarning, there's a lot of male frontal nudity.
How do you feel about frontal male nudity?
So just letting you know, just putting that out there. But now we are into the next part where we're going to be going over what I hope to be watching in the next month, with the upcoming attractions. First up for TV shows, I'm actually going to be knocking out 2 TV shows coming up soon. We've got the Cuphead Adventures, which is a Netflix original. One of my favorite video games that's come out in recent years. Cuphead finally has something that looks actually really good. Cuphead is about a cup man, and he has to deal with the devil. And it's basically a shooter, but it's set in like 1930s art style, which is really, really fun. And then the second is Halo. I'm really excited for the Halo series, good or bad. I'm going to sit down and dive into it. I'm a huge Halo fan. Documentaries, don't know of any really coming up, but for movies, for the non-physical releases, I do need to check out the new Texas Chainsaw. I know I've been wanting to watch it for a while. When it came out, I saw reviews and it said it was pretty rough, so I kind of I've been tiptoeing around it, but one of these nights I'm going to get down and watch it. Next up, this is a recommendation from my buddy Pat. We have The Holy Mountain. Very excited because I don't know much about, I can never pronounce this guy's name, Jodorowsky. So he told me to definitely check this one out first. Excited. I'm not even going to look into what it's about. Who knows? It's going to be fun. Next up, we got a nice French 1960s, kind of like thriller film, Eyes Without a Face. Very interesting film. This is going to be a rewatch for me. It's been probably about a decade since I watched it last. Very excited though, because it's got some very darkness to it. That it's beautiful. Next up, we have Watership Down, which is a animated film about rabbits. And there's some graphic parts where the rabbits bite each other, and there's probably some children that shouldn't have watched this, and they watched it. And yeah, that's what it is. A bunch of rabbits are trying to leave a farm area. There's a lot of allegories for slavery, World War II, internment camps, and it's gonna be an interesting ride. I know I watched a film about like animated films that kind of push boundaries, YouTube video, and I've been getting back into Ralph Bakshi. So that had Fritz the Cat on it, so I clicked it, and Watership Down was on it, and that thing is, it looks pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Next up, we have Ikaru, which is a Kurosawa joint. Make mad films, and if I did, it'd be a samurai. 1952 Japanese film about a workaholic who finds out he has like 90 days to live and does what he can, and he reflects on his life about how much he worked and kind of got him nowhere. So what does he do? He puts a little playground in the middle of the town, and the rest is history. Patton Oswalt said that this is a life-changing film, and he said he wishes he can like take a Men in Black pen and kind of like forget that memory so he can like relive it. I've never seen it. I've just heard phenomenal things about it, and I can't wait to add it to my watch collection. And lastly but not leasty, we have Citizen Kane. This is the Criterion release. It just came out November or so with the 4K restoration. So hopefully that actually works. I know there's supposed to be some issue maybe with the Blu-ray disc. But 1941 Orson Welles joint about a young Charles Foster Kane's last words. What do they mean? Oh, wait, hold on. Black and white. We need to figure out what Charles Foster Kane's last words mean. Media mogul dad, we need to figure out what Rosebud means. You go out and figure it out. It's basically a noir. We play the detective. We figure out, learn more and more about his upbringing and talk to his colleagues and figure out what Rosebud actually means. And if you are looking or interested in an American film course, you're going to watch this film. There's no doubt about it. Probably like a 90 to 10 shot, 90% chance. It's noted in many scholarly articles, known as the best film of all time. I don't think so. Little Nicky, far superior. But I usually like try to rewatch that movie every like 4 or 5 years or so. And when Criterion, I'm like, why doesn't Criterion have Citizen Kane? Like, is it too mainstream? And sure enough, then like a month later it comes out. So I'm like, okay, cool. So very excited to check that out again. But that's going to do it for the watch list. If you guys have any recommendations, please leave them down below. The link to Wendigoon's Iceberg video will also be down in the list if that's something that you want to check out. Also, my Instagram and eBay links are going to be down there as well if you want to check out what I'm selling and what I'm posting pictures of my dog and all that fun stuff. But if you have any recommendations, please sound off down below. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I'll see you guys next month for the watch list. Peace out.